my countrymen, this is Eli Velis-Lao Pamatong, President of the Republic of the Philippines. And tonight I would like to make my comments or remarks on what is in fact going on in the Philippines today. The Philippines today is actually under communism already. This is a communist state, and I want you to admit that, to accept that reality. We are under a communist form of government already. The democracy that you know, the democracy that you experienced is gone. It's dead. And so we have to adjust to the present reality that we are being run by China through its communist puppet, Rodrigo Duterte. Everything is run the way the communists are running their countries. And the only difference is that since we are a new communist country, the communist government in the Philippines is worse than all other communist countries that I know. Russia before, East Germany, Romania, Bulgaria, and even China now. The Philippine Communist government is worse than China. Although the difference is really not big. Because in China, the Christians are openly being killed and crucified on the cross of persecution. The Muslims are quarantined, about 1 million Muslims. Their mosques are burned down, the Quran burned, the Holy Bible burned, the New Testament burned. You see, the Communist Party of China would like to encourage atheism, not religion, because to China, religion is the opium of the people. And I think to a certain extent China is right. But I don't want to be a communist because in many ways I don't like the other practices of communism. It is the opium of the people. Why? Well, let's consider what China has seen in the Bible. The Bible says, blessed are the poor, for they can see God. How can the poor be blessed? A poor man is always a poor man, and it is not blessed to be a poor man. And then the same Bible says, blessed are those who are persecuted. How could you be blessed if you are persecuted? But with that kind of teaching, people say, well, you persecute me, so I will be blessed. Blessed are those who are hungry. Everything that is bad has been justified by the Bible. In the New Testament, the Old Testament, eating a child is good. You smash your babies against the rock, boil them, eat them. That's in Deuteronomy. And in somewhere in the book of Psalm, eating babies is okay. Marrying a daughter, having concubines out of your daughter, like Lot, and making babies with them is okay. Having a child with a sister, Sarah, by Abraham is okay. Many immoralities, supreme, extreme immoralities are justified by the Bible. And so, to a certain extent, if the communists would really review that objectively, they will say that the Bible is the worst book ever written in the world. That's why I myself, even if I was born a Christian, I tried to write a new Bible without those objectionable parts. So I have the Third Testament, about 1,500 pages. Some of the copies of that book I gave to the Pope, about 50 copies. And some copies, about 50 copies, I gave to the Iglesia ni Cristo and to other churches in the Philippines, hoping that they will revise the Bible and make it acceptable to reasonable people. Because the Bible is full of inconsistencies. Of course, there are good provisions in the Bible, But there are also very bad provisions in the Bible that make it the worst, the most evil book in the world. That's why Pope Francis said the Bible is dangerous and obsolete. Why dangerous? Oh, because in Matthew 5:39, the New Testament says, do not oppose a bad person. Meaning you cooperate with a bad person. How could you say that that is a good book which says do not cooperate, do not stop a bad person, do not oppose a bad person? How can that be a good book? And there is also a provision there which says, where Jesus says, you bring those who do not believe in me and kill them in my presence. That is what Hitler did. He killed about 6 million Jews who did not believe in Christ. But what did that make out of Hitler? He became a monster in the history of the world. He killed about 6 million Jews. Because that is what the New Testament says. You kill those who don't believe in me. And Hitler killed the Jews who didn't believe in Christ. The Jews do not believe in Christ. They think that the Messiah has not been born yet. That's why they do not believe in Christ. And Hitler, being very loyal to the Catholic Church at the time, killed 6 million Jews. So that is the reason why I wrote the Third Testament. And I wanted people to avoid China as much as possible. And I wrote an advance parole letter for the members of the Usaffe who might be forced to get out of the Philippines should China become so cruel to the Filipino people. Should it be extremely necessary for the Filipinos to seek refuge in foreign countries. I wrote a letter to Trump again and Biden asking them to help us grant advance humanitarian parole visas for all the members of the Usaffe. In China, as I said earlier, the Chinese, the Muslims are really very, very persecuted, including the Christians. And I don't want that to happen to the Filipinos. So I ask Biden and Trump to help us in the name of God, in the name of humanity, to help us and grant us advance parole visas for humanitarian reasons, especially the members of the Usaffe. I have, some kind of a form for intent to apply for advance parole to the United States, to Australia, to Canada, to Switzerland, to New Zealand, to England, and to the free world. And you can see that through the Facebook. You can see that notice of intent to apply for advance humanitarian parole visa to the United States, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. And that is the reason why I wrote them a letter. Hopefully, they will help us. Because in my case, I was paroled into the United States by the United Nations sometime in 1974. And I stayed in America for more than 30 years as a refugee, as a parolee of the United Nations. That was the reason why I wrote a letter to Joe Biden and President Trump. Hopefully, they will help us. And those of you who are members of the United States Freedom Fighters of the East, United States Allied Freedom Fighters of the East, you inquire from your commanders on how to go about obtaining advanced humanitarian parole visas to the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. I think I have made myself very clear on that. Thank you and good night.